Oh my God. You made it.
Oh, it's a Dodge.
It is.
Oh.
What do you think?
I want it.
Well, you can have it. Everything's for sale. Except what? Is everything for sale at your place too?
Yep. Except my old lady. I'd give that bitch away. Oh. Judy, I love you.
Oh yeah. We won't tell her.
Turn signals work?
Unfortunately, I don't think they do. Man, the old wasps are getting in there already. What the hell?
I like it.
They like it just like us.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I like this thing.
Oh, I think it looks good.
I like that. That's just kind of like the same. That's just like the same on the front of my truck. I'm not shitting you.
Which one?
The
green one?
My 47 Dodge. Yeah.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. As you can see, we got the Dodge up on the hoist, and I'm going to go over real quick what the plans are for this truck. So don't want to bore you guys with talking too much, but I just want to say we got ideas of a Crown Vic front end going in here. Problem is it's going to have to be narrowed. Tie rod ends are going to have to be cut, re-threaded, and just a whole lot of work. So I think I'm going to see if I can work with somebody on a front end suspension kit, you know, whether it be height suspension. I know I've talked to those guys in the past, not about this, but other projects. And then moving on to the back here, quick plan of attack. We're going to go ahead and we're going to cut these bolts out for the body mounts here and here. And then we're going to do that on both sides. And then this frame is going to get chopped off right after this. So right behind here, I have 2x4 tubing tucked over in the corner. We're going to go ahead and we're going to weld two pieces onto that cross member, narrowing this up. The issue we have is this is too wide for the rear end that we want to run. We have this one here, but we're working on a different one with quick performance. This one's just a little bit too narrow. I mean, we want them tucked under, I get that, but not quite that far. So if we can narrow this up, and then we can build some reinforcements for some tubs. Need to get some 4-link stuff coming, and we should be pretty much set. So right now, the front end is the biggest challenge. I'm trying to make this Crown Vic front end work because I have a whole car, and we have a whole other front end that we're getting from someone, but I just think it's gonna be too tough. So I will update you guys in a little bit here what I come up with, just a lot of measuring, and a lot of calculating here, so my brain's going crazy. So, all right, I'll catch back up with you guys and hopefully have some answers. Jason brought another delivery to the shop here. Now, what'd you bring?
More junk.
Yeah, looks like it.
I didn't look and see.
Obviously, it must be a truck one because I think I read online alternators on the top on truck one. So
I didn't look and see what it said inside. We're not lucky and got a. It's 5.7.
no, so 5.7. So this one is basically just for mock-up. So we got the 6.4 that needs to go to the shop to get some, you know, work done to it, some upgrades. So we got this one here. Jason picked up. Oh, what'd you do? 4 hours one way? 4.5. 4.5 one way to get this, but it was a pretty good deal. So can't complain, and it'll work for the mock-up. And we got some adapter stuff coming for the back of it to, what brand was that? Oh, ARP. ARP makes an adapter plate for the back.
No, TCI.
No, it was ARP. I ordered it from direct. Yep.
Adapter. It does the head studs?
No, the torque converter adapter.
ATI.
ATI. What'd I say?
ARP.
ARP, ATI.
You should have told him to get
Three
head studs and rod bolts too.
3 letters, whatever. Who cares? Okay, ATI. The same place that makes the dampers for the front. They make an adapter plate, flex plate, and all the hardware to bolt a Chevy transmission behind it. So Power Glide, obviously, in our case. Jason, you got to get me a case yet. You can call that guy back.
Oh, we got the
Yep. So the guy we got the truck from has all kinds of transmissions laying around there. So if we can just get a core, but time to fire up the forklift. Jason needs to come over this weekend and get this turd out of my yard. I'll be in trouble by the city here soon. If it's not for that, it's going to be for this probably. All right, we'll get it unloaded here. Okay, well, your Friday morning update. I'm out here in the shop. I'm getting ready to cut a bunch of stuff apart. So the final markings are going to be, we're going to cut, this is not marked out correct. I'm going to cut across the top here, cut across the bottom, and then somewhere about in here, this is going to get cut totally off, and somewhere up in here, cut totally off. We're gonna graft that front end over there that Carl left us. So it'll probably start somewhere back in here, the 2x4 frame. Reason why we're gonna slit top and bottom, this is a little explanation, but we'll show it when it's done, is I'm hoping, since this narrows, I can tweak this out and use this as a brace to weld back to the outside of that 2x4 tube going up here. That's why I need to stay back here where it's a little bit taller in this area to make sure the 2x4 tube is gonna fit inside there. So we'll bow this out, have it cut off, then it'll just be that 2x4 section. The bottom of it will end up somewhere around here. Then we'll need to cap the front between this tube and that tube of that new front end, and then we're gonna weld this back to it. So we'll still have this original front bumper, and it'll be tied in. And we'll get some of this other stuff out of here from like the original leaf spring mounts. It's in this one as well. We'll get all that torched off. But the rest of the stuff I kind of got cleaned off, cut off of there, and all that stuff on the ground. But that's where we're at. So now I got to cut off the... Nate's out here munching on some chips, watching people play games, as kids always do nowadays. But I need to cut off this drop tube that's going off of this section here. And then, again, we're going to use from front to back. That's why I need that back there. And then we'll start seeing if we can make this happen. I am going to take, for anybody wondering, there's a lot of extra 2x4 where that drops down, goes out the back. So I'm going to use that and actually lay it on top of this frame up here, weld it pretty good, you know, that way it's solid, and then it's going to come up through here, and I'll just run something up to that that's going to be very strong, and then that should hold that in there. So we're planning on leaving all of this in there and on it, and hoping that it'll work, because once I cut this out, that's tied into that, and this is there's no support to hold the entire front clip, so that's why we need that in there. So we'll see how this works, but let's get started. Well, after a bit of plazing and grinding, we don't want to look too close at this side. Geez, what happened there? This side I did really good on, you know. You'd think the first one you would practice and learn, and the second one you do better, but to be honest with you, what was happening was my consumables are getting bad. I'm not trying to make an excuse, but instead of the flame blowing straight out, it was actually blowing out the side. I didn't really notice it, so it was like cutting down into the part here as I was coming across, but whatever. This will be on the inside of the frame. It's going to be plated anyway, so that's all cut off. I'm not worried about this hanging down at the bottom here, that little bit of weld, because when you get back in here, the frame's tall enough, and we're going to have a plate across here anyways. So that's why I just want to make sure it was all smooth out. Not sure if I'm going to cut these weird motor mounts out of here now or later. Not too worried about that right this second. So this is done. So now we just need to work on whatever we're going to do up front as far as bracing and cutting that out. And like I said, we're going to use some of these pieces here. We got enough material here that we can cut some of this up and make the supports for it. Well, making some progress. As you've seen, I cut these tubes off of that frame and went ahead and welded it, stitched it in there. And then this slit, like I said, was to basically be able to pound this frame rail out so we can use this as a brace and tie it into the other front end. So the section we're going to lose from here to somewhere up in here, we should be good. I've got the bolts torched out that are only holding this whole front end up right there on that cross member. I threw in an extra support up there to that front support where the radiator goes. And I think we're good to go. So the next cut, somewhere in here. I mean, I can always cut more off. So I think I'll get the pliers, cut somewhere in there. Same thing on the driver's side. You know, as you can see here, I went ahead and beat this out with the John Henry there, and it does work. So it does spread that open, and then we can basically collapse that and clamp it to the new one. So that will be a nice brace, and then, like I said, plating it on the inside of it. We should be good to go. So that's where I originally was marking it down for cutting, but I do believe I'm gonna have to go a little bit further to put a tube across the front. So we'll cut this out and see what happens. All right, time to make the final cuts. Well, nobody got killed, so that's good. Alright, break time. I gotta think about this more. After I already cut it.
Yeah, trying to record.
Jason.
Show Nick this. I'm actually working.
Hey, Nick, look at this. First time you swept before.
Yeah.
The broom does fit your hands, huh?
It's got a little blister right there.
Ooh. Alright, well, as you've seen, we got that all welded in there, and this was Jason's idea to weld this in there, and now that we're trying to put the front end in there, if anybody can guess, that's not going to work, because if you realize that the top of this tube is going to be inside of this frame, and the spring perch is going to be up in this area with the control arm up in this area and above here. Yeah, not gonna work, Jason.
Yeah.
We got a welder, we got a torch, we got a grinder, we got a plasma cutter. So Jason brought over a stand. We're gonna put that underneath the cross member here, and then hopefully use the tranny jack. And we're gonna cut that piece basically back out of there. We'll leave it from basically here, weld this up here, put the jack stand there, cut all this back out, and then we'll just take the transmission jack and hopefully just raise the thing right up in, and it's gonna slide right in like butter, isn't it?
Yep.
Yep. We'll have this done in about 69 minutes.
750.
All right, we'll see.
We need a new blade, I think.
Is that one shot already?
No? Jeez. No, I'm shaking.
That's why I said you were cutting the second one. That 1/4-inch thick tubing there, buddy. All right, well, I clamped the side again just to make sure since it was moving so much.
Good thing we're not relying on being straight here.
Well, again, it's kind of like plazing out Goliath. It's about as straight as you are. I thought you cut those off.
Must not did a good job.
All right. Oh, and just like that, the front end's in. Good thing we had the camera set up for that, Jason.
Exactly.
We weren't struggling too bad. It actually, honestly, went in pretty slick. So we took the front end and kind of just jabbed it up in at an angle, sat it in there. I've got a couple clamps over on that side holding it. And I think I just need to grab a couple more clamps on this side. And this is leveled back up. We'll double check all of the levelness and make sure we're looking good as far as the tire center. What do you think?
It's hard to tell on this.
Get my finger out of the camera here. Yeah, fender all dinged up. Looks like maybe it needs to go forward a little bit, but good enough for who's driving it. Well, I might want to drive it once, so we'll have to double check, make sure it's perfect for me. All right, well, we'll catch you guys tomorrow. We'll clamp this stuff up, start welding some stuff in, and then rear end next week. All right, new day, as usual, coming back at you guys, and as you've seen there, we went ahead and burned in some of this. Had a little more difficult time over here. It's a little bit further away on this side. Should have maybe squeezed the whole frame together, but burnout life, it'll be fine. And then went ahead and, as you've seen on the inside there, put a pretty good thick bead. I had to build all this up to fill that gap in there, so don't judge that. So I had to keep building that up. Threw a couple welds on the top up here. Same thing over here, filled that in. So now the question is it going to support this? So I don't know if I should, well, I guess we'll let this down instead of running the hoist up. We can let this down nice and slow, see how it holds up. And keep in mind, we still have this piece sitting on here that's welded to the front bumper and holding up the radiator support, which is sitting on top of this subframe. So we should be good. All right, well, we're gonna find out. Well, it hasn't fallen, so I think we're good. Now I can get these clamps out, finish welding around this tube, weld around the entire top section that meets the C channel where the square tube, rec tube's inside of there, and then probably finish plug welding the outside of these, grind them off, and then I'll show you when we're done. Well, moment of truth. Let's see what she looks like. I'll put some jack stands under the back here just to kind of see where we're at. I'm thinking 2-inch drop spindles. I don't think it's going to be low enough. Well, there you have it. The new rig is officially front end on the ground. The back end, obviously, no rear end yet, which will be here. Hopefully the next episode. I'm probably going to take a little extra time to make that video, so there might not be one in between there for this week. I was going to try and make a couple videos a week for you guys, but on this build series. But I think by the time I get the rear end and cut all this rear suspension, rear frame, and redo all that back here, I think I'm going to need a little extra time. So we'll dedicate the next video hopefully to rear end and then have this thing totally on the ground. Now we're missing some parts, so I got to figure out this front end. We're missing a manual rack for the front. We're missing, that one has a brake caliper, so we're missing a brake caliper on this side. And I think that's about it, honestly. Cut the motor mounts out, finish up this bumper and stuff. Maybe I can try and whip that out real quick here while I'm waiting on that rear end. Otherwise, yeah, I think it's sitting on a flat tire. It's pretty low, but I don't know. Post down below. What's your guys' thoughts? Let me get you one more shot here. It does look kind of low, but I think the back end, yeah, 2-inch drop spindles. I don't know. Comment down below, guys. Let me know. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys are enjoying the build series of this Dodge. A lot of work, a lot of time to get a lot of work done. Yeah, sarcasm there, guys. So September 2nd, Bristol would be the perfect time to have this done. Then the Mopar Fest is going to be in 2 weeks after that. So I guess on that note, before I let you guys go, obviously Holly, one of the main sponsors for this build. So thank you to Holly for helping us with everything that we need to get this Gen 3 running. Now this is the 6.4. Again, this is the one that's got to be built. And this is the 5.7 that Jason picked up. So we also are going to work on using mock-up stuff, which I'll show you some of that. SAP Engines for helping with all the motor work. Quick Performance for helping out with this rear end housing, which again will be in the next episode here. That should be here, axles and housing. Quarter Max or RJ Race Cars for jumping on board with all the 4-link stuff. And then we've got some other stuff coming, so we won't talk about that yet, but ATI, didn't get no deal on this, but or the Harbor Freight blades. But this is our adapter plate, boys, so 2-speed power glide going in. Little adapter plate for the flex plate. And then this is to bolt a GM to a Gen 3. And most of all, I want to say thanks to each and every one of you guys for helping support us, whether you buy merch from the website or just watch the videos. So if you want something, head on over to boosted-ride.com. Otherwise, hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you in the next one.